Welcome to the Flippin Health Podcast, where we turn medicine on its head, flip it upside down, shake it all about, and see what comes out. We're going to challenge convention and change medicine for the better.
Here with Dr. Caryn Zinn. Can you just introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi Grant, Caryn Zinn here. I am a New Zealand registered dietitian. I work at AUT as a senior lecturer, and I am a clinical practitioner.
And sometimes author.
Oh yeah, of course. Sometimes author with you and Craig Roger, and also obviously part of the PREKURE faculty. So quite a few strings there.
Right, we're going to get straight into a bit of a backstory here, I think, Caryn, and go. You've become pretty well known for your views on diet and how they've changed. How did that all happen?
Well, I think you had a hand in that actually, because the change in philosophy towards low carb really came as a result of you making a noise about it and me wanting it to go away. Because of course I was very aware of the Atkins era, when, around the 80s, when the Atkins diet came in, and I remember teaching my students that high fat diets are really bad and high protein diets are really bad, and you'll get bad breath and you'll die of heart disease from too much saturated fat and all that stuff. So I was very aware of this whole area, but it was only really when you sort of shifted from physical activity and wellness into nutrition, and I wanted it all to go away. So when you started talking about low carb, I was really skeptical of the whole thing, and decided to delve into the literature and into my own logical brain to try and make it go away, and it couldn't really. And that's really the first time, I can say embarrassingly, the first time in my nutrition career that I've truly asked those questions, because when I was a student, I didn't actually ask the questions. I was told stuff by my tutors. These are the food nutrition guidelines, and I just accepted it like everyone else did, really. So that was instrumental, and also Tim Noakes changing his mind was instrumental, because of course when Tim Noakes makes a noise about something, he's usually right. So I kind of.
But you actually you trained in Cape Town, at the same university as
I did,
Professor
I did, and he taught me exercise physiology, and he taught me about carbohydrate loading, and we laugh about that now, which is it's quite funny. So that all came about probably about 8 years ago now, and I've never looked back really, because it's just the research is getting stronger, and the practice is just outrageously superior to mainstream nutrition guidelines.
Have you been surprised at the ferocity of the incumbents, if you like, the debate and the level of the sort of ad hominem attacks and those sorts of things?
Yeah, in the beginning, about 8 years ago, it was quite vicious actually, and it was very personal, and I can sort of see why it was like that, and I don't know, I actually didn't really take it personally. I thought, well, I'm just going to plow through this, because this is really important and I want to move through it. And I did it kind of gently, and the ferocity was continued for about 2 or 3 years, but has abated a lot.
So you had formal complaints made against you?
Yeah, I had 3.
And some of those were from another country, which is bizarre.
Yeah, well, the first 2 were from colleagues actually, from dietetic colleagues, which was quite disappointing actually. And it was just about comments that I would make on YouTube, and there were a couple of TV things we did in the supermarket, and one of the comments I made was "fat doesn't make you fat," and oh my goodness, the rebuttal that came through from a local dietitian was kind of laughable now. But the third one was from the entire organisation Dietetics Association of Australia, and a lot of what they were complaining about was totally unfounded.
But it's weird that a Dietetics Association funded partially by the food industry would complain about the practice of a dietitian in another whole country.
Yeah, I know.
That's sort of out of your jurisdiction, right?
It is totally, but I guess the Dietitians Board in New Zealand have a commitment to follow through on any complaint that they get. So that's what they did, and to be completely fair, they've been really, really good. Yeah.
And let's just follow those other parts that you've been involved with, because then you got involved with Tim Noakes and his trial in South Africa. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so that was groundbreaking in terms of low carb, healthy fat, and its controversies really. And he turned the South African world upside down with this trial. And Nina Teicholz and Zoe Harcum were there presenting a lot of stuff about saturated fat and everything. And I guess my involvement was basically the historical relationship with Professor Noakes, but also the fact that I was both a researcher and a practitioner using LCHF, and all we're getting is benefit rather than harm.
Because there's very few PhD qualified dietitians. Why is that?
I think, I mean, look, in this country there are not a lot of academic jobs out there. So when you train to be a dietitian, you typically come up with a vocation. So you would go into clinical dietetics, or you'd go into community or food service, and academia, or private practice of course. And academia, there might only be 3 or 4% of the total dietetic community. But I think that's changing now. There are a lot more dietitians, I mean certainly not the majority, but there are a lot more that are looking to upskill in both masters and PhD.
Did you ever mean to be an academic? How did that happen?
No. I to be honest, I kind of coasted my career. So I left South Africa at the end of '95, and I went up to Whangarei, the winterless north, which is a lie actually, because it's winter there. And I got a job. Basically, I just got the first job that I applied for, which was a public health nutrition job. I never wanted to work in public health, and it's like community work. It was actually quite cool. It was really cool. And then I saw a job 4 years later at AUT, and I thought, oh, that sounds like me. I kind of like teaching, not thinking it was an entry into a big world of research as well. So I kind of naively moseyed on down to AUT, and then thought, oh, okay, I see what this is all about. And I guess the pressure to do Masters and PhD made me do it. But of course, I had really good experiences doing my postgrad study.
So, because you just wouldn't get that job now. Like that, so you got a job as a university lecturer with your undergraduate degree, which is by today's standards is
it's laughable.
Laughable,
yeah.
isn't it? So
it's absolutely laughable.
Yeah.
Plus, also the area of nutrition is not it's not closed off to anyone else apart from dietitians. So at the time, they were looking for a dietitian to teach nutrition, and now they would take probably an exercise physiologist with a PhD who can teach nutrition rather than a dietitian without a PhD. If you know what I mean? Yeah.
So one thing that's always struck me about you is your work ethic. Where did you learn to work so hard? Because I always feel quite lazy compared to you.
You are.
Oh, well, that's...
No, I'm only kidding. I don't know. Do you know what I actually think it is? I think it's a South African upbringing. It's a good, staunch South African upbringing, and I think any immigrant to a different country doesn't muck around, and whatever job you get, you take it really seriously. And I think also if you're passionate about what you do, then you do it well.
I'm always amazed. I get like an email this morning, like you sent at 5:33, just saying.
Well, yeah, I did do a little thing on News Talk ZB about sugary pouches for baby suckies, and my alarm went off at 5:15, and I left for the gym at 5:45, so I had this window where I could just do some emails.
Oh, okay, that's what was happening.
Yeah, that's not a daily occurrence.
Okay. Well, I want to talk about the health system now, and where your place is in that and where we should go.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got my standard 5 questions here, so stand by. The first is, what's good about the health system in this country and around the world and the other developed countries?
I think it's probably a mistake calling it a health system, and perhaps calling it an ill health system would more accurately describe it. I think as far as ill health systems go, we do pretty well. We care for sick people pretty well, I think. And one thing I do like about it is you've got your top physicians and your top surgeons that are accessible not only to the private world, but also they tend to work in the public system as well. So you get really good top people that everyone can be accessible to, well, everyone can access. So I think that is commendable.
So universal access,
yeah,
free,
and also ACC. I mean, I guess that would come into it.
So just tell people who don't know about that.
Yeah, so accident compensation and rehabilitation. I'm not quite sure where the R comes in there, but that's what it stands for. If you have an accident, you know, whether it's at work or at home, or even if you go for a run,
or even if you're committing a crime.
I guess so.
Yeah, no. If you hit yourself while you're committing a burglary, you're still covered.
Okay, so that's what's not good about the health system.
I think that's fair enough.
Well, maybe not. I don't know.
Well, and you don't even have to be a New Zealand citizen. You're just here and you hit yourself.
Yeah. So if you hit yourself, you can get treatment for free a lot of the time, or at a nominal fee. You can just go to a physio, pay your $10, and then ACC. Well, the government will pay the physio the rest of the money. And I think that is. I mean, you do pay for it. So in your salary, a portion goes to ACC. You don't really know about it because it gets taken away before you can even see your paycheck. And in a private, if you are self-employed, you pay for it as well. So you do pay for it, but it's kind of, I think it feels like a bit of a luxury. You hurt yourself and you walk in somewhere and you get fixed.
And the thing about that is that you're also prevented from litigating.
Yes.
Under most situations, which is also just prevents the sort of litigious societies that we've seen springing up elsewhere.
Yeah, that's right. So we're quite sheltered from that compared to the obvious US situation. Yeah.
So that's what we do well. What don't we do well?
We don't prevent illness particularly well at all. There's such a small part of the budget that goes into prevention. It's minuscule. And I do realise that we've got waiting lists, long waiting lists, and we've got all sorts of conditions that need to be fixed. But it seems a little, I don't know, a little bit of a waste to focus all the energy and all the budget on the end rather than preventing anything that's gonna hit. So I don't think we do preventative medicine particularly well.
I agree. I don't think we invest in it
at all,
really.
Yeah.
And so that's. Yeah. Is there a new medicine going to emerge?
I hope so. Let PREKURE take it away.
What about there's conflicts of interest, right? Though there's so the food industry, the pharmaceutical industry, the medical industry in of itself, the device industry that surrounds that.
Yeah, and I think that needs that has been given serious scrutiny. The pharmaceutical industry and the food industry is being scrutinised, but not to the extent that it needs to be to get the change that we need to see. And I think if we all really work together, I'm not sure if that's possible in the world that we live in today, but if we actually collectively worked towards the same goal with integrity and honesty, we'd probably get there. I mean, the government really knows what they need to do to improve health, but doing it is just going to be disastrous for certain elements,
You know what I was thinking about doing, and I don't know what you think about this. I was thinking of starting this open source spreadsheet that linked various interventions with value. So I'm not trying to say we shouldn't do, say, breast cancer screening or colorectal screening, but what's the value for that it provides? Because it might provide value, but there's always an opportunity cost as to where you spend money. And so if you didn't do that and you spend it, say, on nutrition counselling or subsidising food or exercise programs or bicycle lanes or something, what's the health savings in terms of quality and quantity of life, but also just the costs associated with that?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, because I don't think anyone has done a cost analysis or cost benefit or cost comparison.
Yeah, and just to substitute some things, and obviously you're going to make assumptions, but you could change those assumptions and see how they don't have the crowd help with it. I think that would be a cool idea. For example, if you just got people fitter, then we know we're going to reduce cancer before it even happens.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the whole shift from treatment to prevention. Doing the breast screening is good, but it's really...
It's not prevention, right?
Well, it's not prevention. People think it's prevention, but it's not. It's catching a problem and fixing it before it got out of control, really.
Yeah, because the cure to cancer is not getting it in the first place, right?
No. And I guess there's, we're finding out a lot more about cancer, but I reckon for every little thing we know, there's about a zillion things we don't know about how to get on top of it.
So what do you do for your health? What's your daily, weekly, monthly routine?
So I try really hard to exercise regularly, and I succeed there. But I tell you something interesting. So I run, and I go to the gym to do kind of gym work, and I'm one of those people who never gets better at any one of those, because the gym, you have to go like 3 or 4 times a week to get better, and running you need to go 3 or 4 times to get better, and I sort of 2 and 2,
right,
and 3 and 2, and 2 and 3, and I'm never getting better at anything, and I'm always sort of thinking I want to do more. But it's a time thing. But I do enough. I absolutely do enough.
And you like it?
Oh yeah, I love it. And of course, that's the formal exercise, and I've got a very active dog, so when I'm not running the dog, I'm walking the dog, so I'm really active near a beach, and I love it. I do enjoy my exercise for sure. So that's one aspect. Obviously, I eat well. I mean, you can't tell people how to eat well if you don't eat well yourself.
That would be awkward, wouldn't it? People are always interested about what dietitians eat.
Yeah, and it's funny because people have this perception that I'm just perfect with my eating, and when people see me maybe eating a chocolate or even like a piece of toast. I was telling you guys that I actually had avocado on a piece of Vogel's this morning. I'm like, oh, shock, horrors. And I actually do that from time to time. So I would say I eat really well about 80% of the time, and then 20% of the time, I wouldn't say I eat badly by any stretch, but I just sort of eat outside of my good eating zone, if you like.
I remember when we were writing, I think it was the fast, that we got your week's eating.
Yeah.
And what surprised me was the sameness of some of the meals. You didn't have 18 different meals.
No, I'm a bit of a same girl. I think simplicity is gold, really. And my breakfast meal might be, I might have two different types of breakfast, maybe 3. But most of the week I would have the same thing. Maybe on the weekend I might have something different. But my lunch meals are very, very similar. It's either literally a leftover or a salad every day, a salad, but it's not the same lettuce, tomato, cucumber every single day. There are different things in there to keep it varied, but in essence the type of meal is the same.
So do you reckon that's a secret for the how to eat like a dietitian?
It might be, or maybe you could say maybe I'm just too lazy.
What do you make of those people though that are like, oh, I'd be bored with that, I need a different meal every time I eat?
Oh, I've got loads of clients like that. I need more recipes, Really?
And you're going, you need less.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think, look, everyone's different, and you have to run with people's likes and dislikes, and that works for me. And it doesn't work for other people. So, like I said, you just got to run with it and help people as they need.
Is that? I think we made it up in one of the books. This is Steve Jobs' rule.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
So the Steve Jobs rule is I guess it's a little bit like routine. So look at Steve Jobs. He had the same pair of pants and the same turtleneck top, and he wore the same stuff every day. And his philosophy was he's only got a certain amount of brain power that he wants to spend on making Apple, the biggest thing in the world, which he's succeeded to do. And he wants to spend little thinking time on his clothing. And if you relate that to nutrition, you could say the same. You could say, let me have 2 or 3 go-tos, and then I don't have to spend that extra thinking time about what am I going to make and what am I going to eat, and you can spend it rather doing other, not more important things, but equally as important things.
And then you were going to spend your effort on food, you would just make sure you had the right ingredients in the place in the house.
Oh yeah, I mean, look, that's the key. I think that is the key to having good nutrition. If you're not organised, there's no hope, there's no way. So you have to be organised. Your fridge has got to be well stocked, your pantry's got to be adequately stocked for what you need in there, and if you've got those go-to meals, it's a no-brainer.
So what do you find it hard to do in healthy lifestyle?
Oh, I haven't quite finished actually. My healthy lifestyle goes beyond nutrition and exercise.
Oh, okay.
So it does, like I really try, and I've been very unsuccessful the last week in getting a balance of work and play. And like I said, I've had a really, really busy week, but I really like to chill out and enjoy my friends and family, and enjoy being outdoors, doing stuff with a bit of downtime. I really enjoy that.
So mountain biking, fishing, and those sorts of things?
Oh yeah, fishing, diving, all that kind of stuff. I think it's really, really important. And so that's one of the things that I do. And I'm a big fan of sleep, and I've just got this new Fitbit that my sister gave me, and I'm always targeting my 8 hours, and I haven't managed. I'm like 7 hours 10, 7 hours 20. I want to get 8 hours sleep, because I know I feel best when I sleep good quality and enough. So that's really important to me.
I've been recommending this book to everyone I know for the last few months about sleep, by this neuroscientist in California, an English guy called Matthew Walker. Why We Sleep.
I heard of that actually.
It's really good.
Yeah, actually, I heard about it from some airline pilots that I was doing a bit of work with, and this lady was saying that she found it utterly profound. So I want to read it actually.
Because one thing for me is it changed my mind about how alcohol affects us. And there was one experiment in particular that was conducted that he describes, where they had university students learn coding tasks for a whole day, and they got to a certain level, which they assessed. And then they divided them into 3 groups, and the first group just slept 8 hours a night for the next 7 days, and they tested them again, and they'd improved.
Interesting.
And so that was good. And the second group still got the same amount as sleep a night for the 7 days, but on the evening of the first night they had 2 shots of vodka. And it had a profound effect on their memory and learning.
Oh, really?
So their task performance after a week was about 50% less than the people who didn't have the vodka.
That's very interesting. I mean, look, we've always known, and we said this in What the Fat. We've said alcohol, there's some pros and cons, and it's a social lubricant and it de-stresses. But at the end of the day, it's a toxin, right?
Yeah, but I think it disrupts this
circadian rhythms.
Well, it disrupts REM sleep.
Right.
And without the dream sleep, your ability to learn and code and remember properly is diminished. And so I think people don't. That's really changed my mind about alcohol.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if there'll be any studies looking at, because of course the golden question is how much is too much, what that threshold is, whether, if you have 4 or 5 alcohol-free days a week and then you just have a couple of glasses of wine or beer on the weekend, whether that is enough to disrupt,
Yeah, and you weren't learning anything on the weekend. I worry about my students at uni because, well, I don't know if they're all like that, but when I went to uni and I see some of my students, that's how they roll. So they're basically learning stuff during the day and destroying it every evening.
Yeah. And don't forget the sugar that's thrown down with that, the Red Bulls and
they also sort of describe a study there where they experimental study varying macronutrient composition, and the higher your carb concentration in the evening meal, the worse your sleep was.
Yeah, right.
So it's not as powerful effect as the alcohol, but anyway.
Still additive.
So what don't you do well? Was it the not getting enough balance thing, or what else have you got?
What don't I do that well? I have periods of time where I'm constantly trying to work on things. So I'm constantly trying to get my 8 hours of sleep. Food I'm not really focused on because it's good. It's always good, so I don't need to try hard with food. With exercise, I always do exercise. It's just doing the amount that I really want to do. And the balance thing, it comes in fits and starts, and I would say that I get it right 80% of the time, which is important, which is good. And then the social side, I mean, I think that's a constant work on. I always want to see my friends more, see people more, talk to people on the phone more, but I just don't like talking on the phone. I find it annoying.
Yeah.
So it's a constant sort of work in progress.
Do you look back on what you've achieved and go, oh, that's quite amazing? What do you make of your life?
Oh, that's deep. What do I make of my life? Yeah, look, I'm really proud of what I've done. Like I said, I wasn't one of those people who came out of university or came out of school and knew exactly what I wanted to do. I had these life goals. I wanted to do this, that and the other by that time. I kind of coasted. So I almost feel like, I don't feel like a fraud, but I feel like it's just happened for me. I think my issue is I've taken the opportunity when it's been there and I've run with it and I've done a good job with it. So I am really proud of what I've done. Yeah, I am.
You mentioned that fraud thing. That's always something that academics struggle with, because you go from being Ms. or Mr. or whatever, then all of a sudden you're Dr. so-and-so, and people just go, well, that's weird. And the same happens with the professor one. Maybe when you get you'll get that as well. What do you make of that?
It's interesting because you sit in different circles, and I sit in circles where I'm the only doctor, and it's kind of so special. And then I sit at meetings at work where I'm the only doctor because everyone else is professor. And then I go from like hero to zero in 24 hours. And it's interesting. Sometimes I feel like, yeah, I'm awesome. And other times I go, I'm an imposter. I get that a bit with height. It's like I feel quite tall, and then I go and see a couple of kids who play basketball, and I was like, oh my god, I'm quite short. Yeah. I think comparison is one of the worst things that you can do in life, and it's you look at people at work, you look at your friends, you look at what people do, what they have, and you can be totally happy with your life and suddenly become less happy when you compare with others. I haven't done what they've done, or I haven't got what they've got, and I think that's really, really dangerous. And it's almost like that self-talk of coming back to centre. Am I happy with what I've done? Am I happy with this? Am I happy with my future direction? And if it gets a big tick, then just stop comparing with other people.
Oh, because people want to compare up.
Yeah, of course.
If you had to give one piece of advice as your number one bit of healthy life advice to someone else, what is it?
Oh, one piece of advice. Can I give two? Can I give one in a kind of a bit of detail? So the one would actually be getting all those ducks in a row of eating well, sleeping well, regularly exercising, getting enough sun, getting enough social interaction, getting community, embracing your family, that kind of stuff. But I actually think it begins with good sleep, because I see this a lot with my clients. If you don't get enough good quality sleep, you end up making poor decisions and making poor choices when it comes to other things, like I'm too tired to exercise, or I'm too tired to prepare a healthy meal. And I think there's a lot of good things that can come from sleep, and when you get that right, a lot of other things sort of roll out.
Yeah, it's an overlooked one, isn't it? It's totally overlooked.
It's totally overlooked.
Because we're always talking about exercise and us particularly about diet, but sleep is the basis for having a healthy life. I saw a statistic, it's in that Matthew Walker sleep book, that at the turn of the 19th to the 20th century, about 2% of the population reported they got 6 hours of sleep or less, and that's up to 35% get 6 hours or less now. And about,
what was it from, sorry?
It's from the sleep book. It's just
what percent got less?
So, at the turn of the 19th to 20th century, 2% of people reported less than 6 hours sleep a night.
Now 35%.
Now 35%. Half of the people in every sleep survey that's done report that they don't wake up feeling invigorated. They wake up feeling tired.
Yeah.
And so I think that one of the profound effects of modern society, as you're right, is that our sleep is disrupted.
Yeah, and you know what I think is a contributing factor, believe it or not? Netflix. Because now, you know, in the old days, I think TV definitely has its place, and watching TV is quite relaxing for a lot of people who work really hard and play really hard and exercise really hard and just want to come home and chill out and watch TV. I get that. But the old days of TV, you watch your show and then you see it again the following week at the same time. Whereas now with Netflix, you can binge watch.
And you do.
Oh, you absolutely do. I mean, we're watching The Good Wife at the moment, this legal program, and it's going off Netflix at the end of this weekend. So we're binging, and I feel it, and I'm actually relieved that it's getting off Netflix because now my life can return to normal a little bit. But you know, when you watch an episode of whatever series you're watching, it always ends on this little cliffhanger, and then you see it goes, next episode starts in 5, 4, 3, and you go, shouldn't we? Oh, let's just watch the first 10 minutes, which turns into half an hour. And I think that's robbing people of good sleep.
Yeah, and a good life.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Caryn Zinn, thank you.
You are very welcome.
This podcast is brought to you by PREKURE. Prevention is cure. If you enjoyed this podcast, please like and subscribe. If you know someone who could benefit, please share it with them. Together, we can change medicine for the better. Change medicine for good.